If you were born before 1961, your bank has a new legal power you were never told about. And starting this year, they can use it to freeze every dollar in your account for up to 3 full calendar weeks. Not because you did anything wrong, not because of fraud, simply because you crossed an age line. One woman in Georgia tried to pull out $8,000 to repair her roof after a storm and could not touch her own money for 17 days. Today, I am walking you through the 6 specific things that can trigger this freeze, one at a time in plain English, and the one free phone call that makes you almost impossible to freeze. Before I go any further, I need to stop and address 3 different people who are probably watching this right now, because all 3 of you are about to make the same mistake. The first one is the comfortable retiree. You have got a paid-off home, a decent savings account, a pension or social security check coming in every month. You are thinking this is for people who are struggling. I have enough in the bank that the bank is not worried about me. That is exactly backwards. The accounts most likely to trigger a freeze are large accounts with predictable patterns that suddenly change. The more stable your financial life has been, the louder an unusual transaction sounds to the bank's system. This applies to you more than it applies to someone living paycheck to paycheck. The second person is the lower income retiree. You are thinking, I do not have enough for the bank to care. My balance is low. Here is the reality check. The safe harbor rules that allow these freezes apply to anyone over 65 at any balance. A $2,000 account can be frozen just as completely as a $200,000 account. A grocery withdrawal that breaks your normal pattern is all it takes. This applies to you. The third person watching is the renter. You do not own a home. You are thinking this is a homeowner issue. It is not. Every single freeze trigger I'm going to cover today is about your bank account, not your deed. Your rent, your direct deposits, your Venmo, your ATM habits, those are what get flagged. Renters, do not click away. Before I keep going, do me one quick favor. Drop your age and the state you live in the comments. I read them. It helps me know exactly who is watching and which rules to cover next. Now here's the other thing I want you to understand before we get to the list. Most of the people this happens to are not in any way careless or vulnerable. They are ordinary seniors who simply never heard the rule changed. That is not your fault. No one is paid to tell you this. Your bank is not going to call you and explain it. So I have sat across from county assessors and federal agents for over 15 years, and every video I put out gives you one specific form or one specific call you can make this week. Nobody else is breaking this down for retirees the way this channel does. I post new ones constantly. This is for people over 65 who want to keep what is theirs. If that sounds useful, hit subscribe and the bell. I do not want you to miss the next one. Now I want to tell you exactly what changed and why it matters, starting with the 2025 tax year and rolling fully into 2026. For years, banks could see a transaction they thought looked suspicious and warn you, but they could not stop it. If they delayed your money and got it wrong, you could take them to court, so they let the money move. The problem was that financial fraud against seniors exploded. We are talking about billions of dollars a year. Congress and state legislatures decided the banks needed more authority to intervene, so they passed what are called safe harbor laws. As of this year, more than 30 states have one on the books. Here is what a safe harbor law says in plain English. If a bank has a reasonable belief that an older account holder is being financially exploited, the bank can freeze the transaction, hold the funds, and delay your access. And this is the part that stops people cold. The bank cannot be held responsible for doing it. They are legally shielded. The term in these laws is specified adult. And a specified adult is anyone 65 or older. The moment you turned 65, the law placed you in a different category from every other account holder at your bank. You did not choose it. You were not notified. You simply crossed the age line. The hold window written into most of these laws is 14 to 15 business days. Business days, meaning weekends, do not count. Holidays do not count. A 15 business day hold stretches to 3 full calendar weeks. 3 weeks without access to your savings, without the bank needing a court order, without them needing your permission. My name is Walter Barron. I am a state bar licensed estate attorney with over 15 years, sitting across the table from county assessors, probate clerks, and IRS revenue agents. And I will tell you the single most painful pattern I have seen in all those years. It is not the scam victim who lost everything. It is the honest person, The person who did every single thing right their entire financial life, saved carefully, paid their bills, kept their nose clean, sitting across from me with a frozen account and a stack of bills they cannot touch. They did not get defrauded. The bank system guessed wrong about them. And while the bank took its 15 business days to figure that out, this person's electric bill went past due, their car insurance lapsed, and they had to borrow money from their children for groceries. That is not a rare story. That is the story I hear more than any other right now. And the reason it keeps happening is not because the bank is malicious. The intention behind these laws is genuinely to protect seniors from real scams that do real damage. The problem is the systems doing the guessing do not know you. They have never met you. They only know your pattern. The moment your real life breaks a pattern they expect, you become a flag. That is what today is about. 6 specific behaviors that trip these systems, one at a time, plus the exact steps to take, so you are never the person sitting across from me with a frozen account. Trigger number 1, a sudden large withdrawal or transfer. Here is how the bank's system sees your account. It knows your average monthly balance. It knows how much you normally withdraw at a time. It knows how often you make transfers. If you have held a predictable, steady account for years and you suddenly ask to withdraw $10,000, $15,000, or more, whether that money is for a home repair, a grandchild's college, a car, or medical expenses, that single request is enough to flag your file and initiate a review. The amount that triggers a hold varies by bank and by state. In California and New York, banks are operating under stricter internal guidelines and often flag amounts as low as $7,500. In Texas and Florida, the common internal threshold sits around $10,000 to $12,000. In Illinois and Georgia, it varies by institution. The myth people carry into this one: if I just stay under the reporting threshold, I am fine. That is backwards, and I will explain exactly why in Trigger 3. Who does this help the most? Anyone who has a major life expense coming, a roof, a vehicle, medical equipment, a down payment gift to a child. In other words, almost everyone at some point in retirement. The exact action step: never spring a large withdrawal on your bank cold. Walk in 2 to 3 days before you need the money and tell a branch manager in person, on Thursday, I am going to withdraw $12,000 for a new roof. I wanted to let you know in advance. Ask them to note it on your account. That note creates a paper trail of innocent intent before the algorithm can generate a suspicious one. Announced money does not look like stolen money. Unannounced money does. And here's where the next trigger surprises people, because it has nothing to do with the dollar amount. Trigger number 2, a change in your financial behavior. Every major bank now uses automated systems that build a profile of what they internally call your financial pattern, the rhythm of how you normally bank. The moment something changes that rhythm, the system flags your account for review. And I need you to hear some of the specific things that count as a pattern break, because several of them will shock you. Logging into your account from a new phone or tablet, the kind a family member might give you as a gift. Using Zelle or Venmo for the first time after years of not using them. Sending money to a person you have never sent money to before. Accessing your account from a different city or state while traveling. A change in how fast you type or how you navigate the app. Behavioral biometrics that the bank's software tracks without telling you. None of these mean you are being scammed. All of them can contribute to a freeze. Texas, Florida, and North Carolina have seen the highest volume of freeze complaints tied to this trigger, according to the state banking ombudsman offices. The pattern break freeze hits retirees who are expanding their financial lives at exactly the wrong time. Who does this help the most? Anyone who recently got a new phone, started helping a grandchild financially, or began using a new payment app for the first time. The exact action step: when something in your financial life genuinely changes, call your bank and tell them before the computer notices. Getting a new device, starting to use a payment app, sending money to a new person, all of these are worth a 2-minute call. This is me, this is new, and it is completely normal. You are writing your own explanation before the automated system writes a worse one. Now, Trigger 3 is the one that trips up even careful, financially sophisticated seniors, and it traps them badly. Trigger number 3, structuring your withdrawals. This is the most dangerous trigger on this list, because the people who fall into it are trying to be careful. Here is how it happens. You hear somewhere that withdrawing $10,000 or more from your bank Triggers an automatic federal currency transaction report. So you decide to spread your withdrawals out, maybe 8,000 this week, 8,000 next week, to stay under the line. Do not ever do that. Breaking up transactions to stay below the federal $10,000 reporting threshold is itself a federal crime. It is called structuring, and it carries serious penalties, including account seizure. The critical thing to understand: it does not matter that the money is 100% yours. It does not matter that it came from completely legal sources. The act of deliberately breaking up the withdrawals is the crime. Federal courts in Georgia, Illinois, and California have all seen cases involving seniors who lost legally earned savings to structuring charges, not because they stole anything, but because they created a pattern that looked like they were hiding something. Who does this help the most? Every senior who has ever heard that $10,000 rule and acted on it to try to stay safe, which is a large percentage of this audience. The exact action step: do the opposite of hiding. If you need to move a large amount of money, do it in one clean transaction and let the federal report be filed. That report is a routine form. It goes to a federal database, and when your money is legitimate, nothing happens. The form is not the danger. The pattern of avoiding it is. Quick gut check before we keep going. In the comments right now, type one word: homeowner, if you own your home, renter if you rent, or widow if you are a surviving spouse. I read these, and it tells me which triggers to break down deeper in the next video. Trigger number 4, the dormant account. This one is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not send you a notice. And by the time most people discover it, their money is already gone, sitting in a state government account waiting to be claimed, which most people never do. Every state has an abandoned property law. The timeline varies. In California, an account becomes dormant after 3 years of no activity. In Florida, it is 5 years. In Texas and New York, it is 3 years. In Georgia and Illinois, it is 5 years. Once the bank declares the account abandoned, they transfer the funds to the state as unclaimed property. Your money is not lost, but it is now in a government account with your name on it, and you have to know to look for it to get it back. Who does this help the most? Anyone with a secondary savings account, an old certificate of deposit, a money market account, or any account they set up for later and have not touched in a few years. The exact action step: touch every account you hold at least once a calendar year. Log in. Make a single small transaction. A $1 transfer in either direction works. Update your contact information. Anything that registers as activity. Every state maintains a free unclaimed property database. If you have never checked yours, go to your state's official Treasury website and search your name. In Illinois, it is icash.illinois.gov. In California, it is skio.ca.gov/UPD. In Texas, it is claimatexas.org. In Florida, it is myfloridacfo.com. If you find money there, the process to reclaim it is free. Dormant accounts are a silent drain. The next trigger is an active one, and it is the one that causes the most financial damage in the shortest amount of time. Trigger number 5, the active investigation freeze. This is the trigger with the most direct financial impact. When any of the previous 4 triggers fires, a large withdrawal, a behavior change, a suspicious pattern, a dormant account flag, the bank can place what is called an active investigation freeze on your entire account while they investigate. During this freeze, your direct deposits will continue to arrive, but you cannot get them out, you cannot withdraw, you cannot transfer. In some cases, your online access shows a reduced balance or a pending status that obscures what you actually have. And the people on the phone, the teller, the customer service line, the branch manager, they often cannot lift it. The freeze was placed by a separate internal fraud or elder protection department that operates on its own timeline and does not take calls from branch staff. In New York, California, and Florida, the maximum review period under current law is 15 business days. In Texas and Georgia, the state laws allow up to 10 business days before a mandatory review point. The bank does not need a court order to initiate this. They need a reasonable belief. That is a low bar. Who does this help the most? Everyone, because this is the outcome all the other triggers can produce. Understanding this one is understanding what is actually at stake. The exact action step: the moment you believe an investigation freeze has been placed on your account, do not argue with the teller. Ask one specific question only. Which department placed this hold, and how do I reach that department directly? Get the name, the direct extension, and the reference number. Then ask for the reason and the expected release date in writing. A written request for this information is your right under Federal Banking Consumer Protection Regulations. And I am going to give you the full 48-hour action plan near the end of this video. There is one more trigger, and it catches the people who are simply trying to move their own money between their own accounts. Trigger number 6, the out-of-state or new account transfer. This one surprises the most financially careful people. You open a new account at a credit union or an online bank because the interest rate is better. You decide to move your savings there. You initiate a wire transfer from your primary bank to the new institution. The transfer is blocked or held. Here is why. To the bank's automated system, that transfer hits 3 simultaneous red flags. It is going to an institution the bank does not recognize. The destination account is new, and the receiving bank may be in a different state. All 3 of those attributes together look identical to what a scammer would do with a victim's money. Wire it fast to a new, unfamiliar account before anyone can stop it. This affects seniors in every state, but states with large populations of retirees who use online banks, Florida, Arizona, North Carolina, and Nevada, see the highest frequency of this specific trigger. Who does this help the most? Anyone who is moving savings to get a better return, consolidating accounts after a spouse's passing, or setting up a new account at a credit union. The exact action step. When you plan to transfer money to a new or unfamiliar account, do it in stages over a few weeks. Move a small amount first, $500, let it clear, then call both banks and tell them you are planning to move a larger amount. Ask your primary bank to note your conversation. A planned, announced, gradual transfer clears every time. A sudden large first-time transfer to an unfamiliar institution gets stopped every time. Now here is everything I just described. 6 triggers, 6 action steps. They matter. Learn them. But if you do only one thing after this video, it is this. Add a trusted contact to your account. Almost every bank and brokerage in the country now allows you to name a trusted contact on your account. This is one person, a son, daughter, sibling, close friend, anyone you trust completely, whose name and phone number you give the bank in advance. Here is exactly what it does. When the bank system flags your account and the bank is about to initiate a freeze, having a trusted contact on file gives them a person to call first. One call. Your daughter or your son says, "Yes, mom is buying a car. I know about it. That is completely normal. The freeze never happens." You have preloaded the answer to the question before they ever had to ask it. A trusted contact cannot withdraw your money, cannot see your balance, cannot make decisions on your behalf. They can only vouch that you are a real person living a normal life. That is the entire function. It takes 5 minutes to set up with a phone call to your bank. It costs nothing, and it is the single highest value protection on this list. 3 additional protection moves for the higher asset homeowner. First, set up a durable financial power of attorney in a form your specific bank will accept. This is different from a generic downloaded form. Most major banks have their own preferred power of attorney format, and banks reject generic internet forms frequently. Done correctly, a bank-accepted power of attorney means there is always someone who can legally act on your behalf if you are in the hospital or temporarily unable to handle things. Your estate attorney can prepare this for you. It is one of the most important documents a person over 65 can have in place. Second, maintain a second banking relationship. Never let a single institution hold every dollar of your liquid savings. A backup account at a separate bank, even with a modest balance, means that if your primary account is frozen for 15 business days, you are never completely without access to cash. The people who panic during a freeze are the ones with no other account to turn to. Third, add a payable-on-death designation to every account you hold. This is a one-page form at the bank that names who receives the funds directly upon your passing, bypassing probate entirely. It does not help with a freeze during your lifetime, but it prevents a second, longer freeze of your accounts after you are gone. This takes about 10 minutes per account and costs nothing. I want to tell you about a woman I will call Margaret, a composite of clients I have sat across from in the last 2 years who faced this exact situation. She was 74, retired school teacher from outside of Chicago. She had saved her entire career, kept one primary checking account and one savings account at the same bank for 22 years, and lived modestly. Her grandson called to say he was putting a deposit on his first apartment and was $6,000 short. Margaret was thrilled to help. She walked into her branch the next morning and asked to withdraw $6,000. The teller was polite. The transaction processed. 40 minutes later, her entire account was frozen. Not just the $6,000, but her checking, her savings, and her incoming direct deposit. The system had flagged the large cash withdrawal as a potential elder exploitation event. For 11 days, she could not buy groceries without calling her daughter. Her utility payment bounced. She had done nothing wrong. The bank eventually confirmed there was no fraud and released the account. But Margaret told me something I have not forgotten. I felt like a criminal for 11 days when all I did was try to help my family. If Margaret had added her son as a trusted contact, 5 minutes, one phone call, the bank would have called him that morning. He would have confirmed the story in 30 seconds, and it never would have happened. If you are watching this and your account has already been frozen, here's what to do in the first 48 hours. Step 1. Do not argue with the teller or the customer service line. They did not place the freeze, and they do not have authority to lift it. Ask them one question only. Which department placed this hold, and how do I reach them directly? Step 2. Ask for the reason and the expected release date in writing. Request this by email or written notice. You are entitled to it. Step 3. Give the bank an easy way to say yes. Offer your trusted contact. Offer a family member who can verify the transaction. If the amount is substantial, a brief written statement from your attorney or CPA explaining the purpose of the transaction moves faster than weeks of phone calls. Step 4. If the hold extends past the date they gave you, escalate. Every state has an office that regulates state-chartered banks. In Texas, it is the Texas Department of Banking. In Florida, it is the Office of Financial Regulation. In California, it is the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. In New York, it is the Department of Financial Services. A written complaint to your state banking regulator typically produces a response within 5 to 7 business days, much faster than waiting in the bank's internal queue. If you do nothing else this week, do this one thing. Call your bank, ask for a customer service representative, and say, I would like to add a trusted contact to my account. That 5-minute call is the single highest return action you can take today. Type yes in the comments if you are going to do it this week. I will be reading. And if you want the one-page version of everything I just walked through, with the state-by-state deadlines, the exact phrase to say to your bank, and the free unclaimed property databases by state, I have put it together at walterbarronlaw.kit.com. The link is in the description. If this video helped you, send it to one person you know who is over 65. Your bank is not going to call them and explain any of this. You might be the only one who does. This is general education, not personal legal or tax advice. Rules vary by state and by income. Always confirm your own situation with your county, your stateship office, or a qualified professional before you act.